What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. As you guys know, the World Cup starts in just 2 weeks, and the USA is releasing their roster this Wednesday. So for this video, I'm going to be getting inside of Greg Berhalter's head and letting you guys know what the 26-man USA roster is going to look like. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into the video. Alright guys, so like I said before, this is who I think Greg Berhalter is taking to the World Cup. Not the 26 that I personally prefer, but this is who I expect to see at the World Cup. So with that being said, these are the three goalkeepers. I have Zach Steffen, Ethan Horvath, and Matt Turner. So I do think a lot of people think Sean Johnson might be going to the World Cup instead of Ethan Horvath. However, out of these three goalkeepers, I do think Ethan Horvath might actually be in the best form, and I think Greg Berhalter is going to take him. Sean Johnson hasn't been playing that much since the MLS has ended, and I do expect him to probably start Matt Turner for most of the games. But I think Zach Steffen, Matt Turner are locks, and then Ethan Horvath is going to be that third goalkeeper that we take. Moving over to the center backs, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Aaron Long, Walker Zimmerman, Tim Ream. I think Aaron Long and Walker Zimmerman, those two guys are locks. You probably expect them to start for most of the games at the World Cup. Cameron Carter-Vickers has obviously been playing a lot with the USA, and he's just been doing really good over the last year or two over at Celtic. Now, a lot of people do want Chris Richards. He might be the best center back that we have at the moment. However, he has been pretty injury prone. He hasn't been playing for a while, and he's not 100% sure to be back at the World Cup. And I have seen a couple things on social media being leaked about Tim Ream probably being at the World Cup. So I think we're going to have Cameron Carter-Vickers, Aaron Long, Walker Zimmerman, and then we're going to bring Tim Ream in for his experience. And honestly, I'd like to see him get on the field probably over any of the other three center backs. So hopefully Tim Ream can get some game time, but expect to see Aaron Long and Walker Zimmerman starting at the World Cup. Moving over to the fullbacks, Anthony Robinson. He's obviously going to be the starting left back. And as I've said for a while now, I do expect the USA to take 3 right backs and only 1 left back. So Anthony Robinson is going to be the only left back I expect us to take to the World Cup. Then obviously Serginho Dest is going to start on the right side. He has had a dip in form recently since his move over to AC Milan away from Barcelona. And then DeAndre Yedlin, he has World Cup experience. You expect him to back up Serginho Dest there. And then Reggie Cannon as another backup on the right. I expect Anthony Robinson to probably play every minute as a left back. If something were to happen to him, I expect to see Serginho Dest slide over to the left back position, and then Yedlin or Cannon move over into the right back position. Moving on to the biggest group is going to be Tyler Adams. Now he's obviously going to start at the 6 for most of the minutes in this World Cup. Then you have Acosta, Luca De La Torre, and then Weston McKennie, Yunus Musa. Those are probably going to be the other 2 starters over, and kind of a box-to-box is going to be Weston McKennie. Musa, kind of another 8, but he's going to play a little more attacking. And then obviously Brendan Aronson and Christian Roldan. Now, I would like to see Brendan Aronson get some game time. I think he's done really good for Leeds United this year. And then Roldan, that's just kind of a locker room guy. Obviously, we don't expect him to see much of the field, but Greg Berhalter and him just have a really close relationship, and I do expect him to bring Christian Roldan, even if he doesn't even play a single minute at this World Cup. Now moving over to the wingers, I have Timothy Weah. Now I expect him to play the right wing most of the time. Then Paul Arriola. For me, it was either between Paul Arriola or Jordan Morris. I think Greg Berhalter is personally only going to bring one of those guys, and I just expect him to bring Paul Arriola instead of Jordan Morris. It just makes a little more sense to me. Then obviously Christian Pulisic, he's going to be the left winger for me. Obviously going to be starting most of the minutes. Maybe if we're getting ahead in some of the games, he gets a little bit of rest time, and then that might be where Timothy Tillman comes in. He's kind of just a utility player. He can play left wing, he can play right wing, and then he can play almost anywhere in the midfield. And then lastly, we have Giovanni Reyna. He's been very injury prone over the last year or two, but he's finally getting back in form. He's playing good with Dortmund. He's starting to score. He's assisting some goals. I expect to see him mostly as a backup at the right wing position to Timothy Weah, but obviously he can also kind of play as an attacking mid option if we need him to do that. All right, and lastly, moving over to the strikers, I have Jesus Ferreira. That is obviously someone that Greg Berhalter just really likes. I do expect him to probably be starting most of the games at this World Cup. However, I would take Josh Sargent or Ricardo Pepi here to play over him. Obviously, we are missing Jordan Pefok, who personally, that is my favorite striker in the pool. I'd like to see him go to the World Cup and be playing at the World Cup, but it just seems like Greg Berhalter isn't huge on him as he doesn't fit the tactical aspects that Greg Berhalter really looks for in a striker, and he hasn't been calling him up recently. So I do think Pefok is going to be missing the World Cup, and then Josh Sargent, Ricardo Pepi. Out of these three, I would like to see Sargent probably start or Pepi going, but I don't know. I think Jesus Ferreira is going to get most of the minutes at this World Cup. All right, guys. Well, if you did enjoy the video, please go ahead and like and or subscribe to the channel. Also, leave a comment if you think maybe I missed out on anyone who is going to be at the World Cup, or maybe I put someone in who you don't think is going to be at the World Cup. I appreciate you guys for watching the video, and I'll see you guys next time.